What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my second channel. My name is Isaac. I haven't made a video on here in a pretty long time. I think it's been about 4 months, maybe something like that. But a little later ago than that, about 6 months ago, some of you might know that I did a video on a Netflix original anime called Devilman Crybaby. It was the very first anime show I had ever watched from start to finish. I never really grew up watching that many shows in general, and especially in the last few years with just mainly focusing on YouTube, I just am not someone that watches that much actual TV or shows in general. But yeah, I said that I want to try and experience some anime shows because they're popular. A lot of them seem like something I would be interested in, but I just never did. So I made that video. And since I have watched a few more, and I figured I had fun making the last video, so just gonna do it again for some of the other ones. So today I'm going to be talking about an anime called Ouran High School Host Club. Multiple of my friends told me to watch this. They really enjoyed it, so I did. And it's one of the weirdest things I've ever watched, but I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really cute and really fun. Nothing like I really expected going into it, mainly just because I had no idea what it was. I was only watching it because my friends told me to. And yeah, it was weird, but not in a bad way. Just breaking it down from some very, simple and obvious points that go into a show. The characters, overall, I think you could definitely make the argument that a lot of them are cliche, but I think that makes them work, and I think the thing about cliche characters in shows is it works really well if you let them evolve over time. So although a lot of the characters are very flat when you first meet them, getting to know their story and getting to know more about them, I think makes a big difference. For example, Kyoya, I'm probably going to say most, if not all of these names wrong. You're just going to have to forgive me. I'll put pictures on screen. Japanese names are hard. Kyoya, I think his name is, at first he is nothing more than a nerd, a computer whiz, I guess you could say. He's quiet, stays to himself. So, not all that interesting of a character overall, but getting to know his story with his family and how they have a lot of pressure on him because of their success, and he sort of puts that pressure on himself because he wants to be that successful. He wants to overthrow his older brothers who, are seen as better than him, and he wants to prove himself. And, knowing all of that background on him, explains why he is the way he is, and it, makes his behavior not only more reasonable, but it makes you sympathize with him because he's really only the way he is because he wants to prove people wrong, and I think that's, interesting story. I don't know which one of the two twins had this story arc, because they are literally that similar, but one of the two twins has this really interesting story arc about how they have problems with anger and jealousy, and trying to overcome that and get closer to the main character, Haruhi, as well as seeing how they've gone from, staying to themselves and only to themselves, and how they were invited in by the host club, and how that really brought both of them out of their shells, but especially one of them. Don't know which one, but one of them. And yeah, it's just, again, it's a small story, it's a small plot point, but it makes these characters that can appear cliche and flat that more interesting, and it makes you, feel the characters as actual people much more. I really liked all the characters. I think they were really fun to follow. There weren't really any characters that I didn't enjoy watching, even if some of them aren't as interesting as others. I think the protagonist is very likable and very relatable in a lot of ways, and I think the story overall works very well with the characters. The overall concept is unbelievably weird, but it's interesting. The host club is, I guess, a club of hosts that get paid to hang out with people. I don't know. It's really interesting because Haruhi is used as a character very interestingly. It actually gives a pretty interesting conversation regarding gender, because the whole concept is Haruhi is a female that people believe to be male, and they use that in various situations. All the people in the host club know that Haruhi is female, so, you know, they simp real hard. But everyone else, they don't know that Haruhi is a girl, so they play her off as a guy, as a part of the host club, to just be another host to run the club and business, I guess. And yeah, it's actually a really interesting utilization of gender and to the character overall. The way they use that is interesting, just because it gives a commentary on how people are treated in various scenarios. And again, I think Haruhi is a very relatable character. She's going to this school of insanely wealthy people because she is intelligent enough to be in that high of an education, but it doesn't come from a very wealthy household whatsoever. She comes from, you know, arguably a really, really rough situation. And, you know, it's a really interesting commentary on that as well, because no one else that she knows understands what that's like. So that's interesting in and of itself. I will say, something they did not do right with gender was Haruhi's father, I guess, is a trans woman. And they don't use that well at all. They very well could have used that as a way to give a commentary on transgenderism, but they didn't. They really didn't. They kind of just... I can't even say they use it as a joke. They kind of just use it as a thing that's there, and it's weird and awkward. They don't treat it seriously, but nor do they treat it like a joke. It's kind of just there, and it makes me uncomfortable. As far as the episodes go, I think they're very consistent in quality. I think there are I'm going to talk about some episodes that I think are better than others, but I think as far as the show of 26 episodes go, episode after episode, they stay the same level of quality, same level of entertainment and enjoyability, with a few exceptions that I will talk about. The only episode that really stands out to me as one that I want to talk about as being not good is called A Day in the Life of the Fujioka Family. Fujioka? It's Fujioka. I think it's Fujioka. Basically, it's the whole thing is the problem I was just talking about. The host club comes to Haruhi's household and experience Haruhi's trans parent for the first time and experience Haruhi's lifestyle for the first time. And it's just annoying and very not funny. You can tell they really wanted it to be funny. There's some consistent humor throughout the show that I think is very enjoyable. But yeah, they tried to make this episode funny and just isn't. It's just obnoxious. And again, the whole episode, a lot of the episode is centered around Haruhi's parent, who is transgender, and they could have very well used that for the episode's benefit, but they didn't. It's just a really frustrating experience. You really feel for Haruhi in it, because she's frustrated, and I feel exactly the same way. It's just dealing with these people, who again I think are likable characters, but in this episode they're just obnoxious and terrible all around. My favorite episode, personally, was called Mori Senpai has an apprentice candidate. A lot of the episodes have weird names. That probably has to do with translation, though. Basically, the story of this episode is this tough-ass guy finds out that Haruhi is a female, so he starts going to the host club to see Haruhi, who everyone thinks is a boy. But for the record, he also thinks that she's a boy for a very long time, and it's really funny to see him... a very clearly masculine man who takes himself very seriously, freaking out over the fact that he might like a boy. It's really amusing. But yeah, that's why I genuinely think it's one of the episodes that treats the gender concept very well, and it is really funny. It's consistently funny, and also just one of the more engaging ones, because near the end, what's the tough man's name? I need to Google it. Casanoda, that was it. Casanoda. There it is. Towards the end of the episode, Casanoda attempts to profess his love for Haruhi and gets cut off and friend-zoned real hard. And everybody watches. And it's just that is the most tension-building moment of the whole goddamn thing. Something to talk about is also this show has a pretty decent combination and balance of humor and actual emotional moments. Mainly near the end, Haruhi's relationship with everyone, it starts off as kind of just a forced thing and a burden, if anything. And, you know, seeing their actual friendships and relationships grow over time, and again, some of the character arcs that I brought up earlier, you know, there are some emotional moments, but also, again, it's Haruhi being stuck with a lot of these people who are kind of obnoxious assholes. So it does also get quite funny at a lot of the time. I do want to comment on the ending. Although I think the ending is great, it's a really good ending. There's this moment at the end where... What the fuck is the guy's name? I can't do Japanese names. Tamaki. Haruhi and Tamaki are falling through the air off of a bridge into the water. And it goes slow-mo, and you think they're about to kiss. You do, it looks exactly like it, and then they hug. That's the most, like, that, what? Why? This was the ending of the show. This was the last episode. This is what the show had been very much hinting at and sort of hyping up. Why didn't you just, you know, go the whole way with it? So overall, I really enjoyed the show. There were some moments and one particular episode that I thought sucked and was annoying. But overall, I thought it was really cute. Thought it was really fun, with some fun characters, some fun moments, some interesting ideas, and yeah, overall I think it was really fun, and I definitely enjoyed watching it. Now, since this is only the second anime I've ever spoken about, I think a question to end on would be this versus Devilman Crybaby. How do these two compete in my head? They are very different, so that does make it more difficult. They are obscenely different. They're not even really comparable in a way. But I would say, generally, looking at both of them, I've rewatched both of them multiple times. You know, I think Devilman Crybaby just has a lot more depth to its ideas, and it has a lot more intense moments that really grab your attention. I think it's more engaging overall. So I would say I think Devilman Crybaby overall I enjoy more than Ouran High School Host Club. But that doesn't really mean anything. I really, really enjoyed both. I think they are both fantastic, and I had a fun time with both of them. So I'm very happy to say that my anime journey has been fun thus far. Can I just say how much of a meme I have become? My YouTube career now consists of talking about Five Nights at Freddy's and anime. I'm doing great. That's gonna be all for this video. Let me know what you guys think of this show. If you clicked on this video not knowing the show and watched it to the end, that's weird. So let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what you agree or disagree with me on. I didn't word that right. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Peace.